Welcome to the Sound Mind Strategy Podcast with your host, Evan.
And Anina Blankenship.
This podcast is aimed to be an in-depth discussion between husband and wife power couple where we take on challenging topics in the mental health and wellness arena.
By trade and training, I'm a licensed clinical social worker, certified professional coactive coach, USA Cycling National Champion, and I love to push my limits both physically and mentally.
As for me, I am currently in a master's program for sport and performance psychology, where I'm also on track to become a certified mental performance consultant. I've also been coaching athletes for the last 5 years, helping them reach their truest potential.
We're both very passionate about athletic performance, mental skills training, spirituality, and we love to take a holistic approach to helping people find harmony in their mind, body, and spirit.
We believe that there's greatness inside of everyone. Our mission and the mission of this podcast is to help you unlock and operate within yours. Hello, everybody. Welcome back or welcome to the Sound Mind Strategies podcast. This is your host, Evan, and sitting alongside me is my beautiful wife, Anina.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so this week's episode's a good one. We're going to kind of touch on relationships and even more specifically, human connection and friendships, kind of what that means, what that entails, what it's all about, why is it even important. So this is going to be a good one. Stick around. We're going to do a little housekeeping here up front on the front end and kind of for the new listeners, Anina is pregnant. She's
week number 22.
Yeah, week 22, which is actually really cool how the pregnancy week falls in line with
with the podcast.
The episode that we're on. So that's, I mean, it's just kind of neat how that kind of stuff works out. But
it is.
You got any updates on what's going on with baby B?
Yeah, so I have been feeling some movement. That's been kind of cool. Just real slight movements, but still, that's really fun. Having that, and then the belly is growing. It is huge. We saw family last week, and then they saw us again this week, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, it really did grow." And as one of the clients down the hall at work said, it looked like I swallowed a watermelon. So it's definitely getting bigger.
I think on your Instagram feed it said that made the list of things not to say to a pregnant woman.
Yeah. I mean, it was so funny, but I was just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
He wasn't being rude, but there's just things.
He was totally
There's just
teasing.
some things you just don't say. I don't care if you're getting ready to pop tomorrow. You just don't even ask, are you pregnant? I didn't even know. I couldn't even tell.
Couldn't even tell.
You look beautiful.
I had no idea. So that, and then also, man, I guess that's really it right now. All that I'm noticing, my belly is it's growing. So it's kind of,
it's growing.
It's definitely growing. It's like, oh my, it's real. But yeah.
Yeah. So for me and my We're Pregnant hand guide, pregnancy book for dads, it gives some stats. So baby stats, it's the size of a papaya. It looks like a skinny baby. So yeah, because we went in for, it's been a couple weeks now, but we went in for
the ultrasound.
Anatomy ultrasound, and we were hoping for the 3D one, and well, you probably don't want to see it. There's no fat on the baby yet, so it's just going to kind of look like a little alien. But
yeah,
but it's cool. So we're going to break the 1 pound barrier this week for little baby. So that's cool.
Woohoo.
Yeah, and then stats for mom, it definitely says the pregnant belly is clear at this point. Yeah. Anything else important?
No denying that. I think that's kind of.
Are you having? This says you're having difficulty finding a comfortable position for sleeping. Is that true?
I have not really been. No, I'm feeling okay. I'm go on my sides and on my back. I'm just kind of all over the place. But.
Okay, I got one more good one for you. Her poor sleep, heartburn, and flatulence may cause stress. How are we doing in that area?
Actually, pretty good. None of that's
Speak
causing
for
me
yourself.
any stress.
Me and Cooper are. No, I'm just kidding. Completely kidding. You were ladylike as always.
Yeah. Most days.
Yeah.
Very good. And you, did you come prepared with a dad joke
Oh,
for us
yeah.
today?
Thank you. I actually did. I did some research. I think this is probably like more important research than actual topic research. Maybe not, but yeah, I'm having fun with them. I'm learning a lot. And so, dad joke. Ready?
Ready.
What does a mermaid wash her fins with?
I don't know what.
Tide.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I thought that was a pretty good one.
Very good.
I thought that was a good one.
That was good. I'll definitely use that one someday.
I can't wait to use these. Like, he's probably going to think I'm the dorkiest dad in the world, but I'm looking forward to it.
We can even tell him now because that our baby book did say that, he can hear sounds. He can hear dog barks, like little Cooper's bark, hear sirens, loud music. They said if you shine a flashlight on your belly, the baby will try to like turn away from it too. It's just like a lot of stimulus. It's
so
noticing.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, why would somebody do that? It seems so cruel.
Kind of looking there. Yeah, everything else, like we were able to go to a baseball game on Friday. You and I were just talking about like, we need to go to a game and it'd be so nice, and just kind of like, and it just couldn't really make it happen. And then lo and behold, we just
got some free tickets.
Yeah, I got some free tickets and had my parents come down and join. I know my dad really enjoys baseball games and stuff. He was big time athlete back in the day, and so he always is up for a game. And they were pretty high up there, but you know what? I'm not complaining. It was a beautiful night out, and weather was good.
Views.
Yeah, it was, and that stadium's designed so well. Like it's kind of, there's not a bad seat.
No,
but it was great. Even though it was a fun rivalry game, it was Cubs Cards. I kind of have been out of the baseball world for a while. Like, I guess I'm still a fan. I don't know. Like, I like to see the home team win, I guess, but I haven't really been paying attention for quite some time now. But I enjoy it. I enjoy sports. Kind of always been in that arena, but Cardinals definitely got it handed to them. Like, just Cubs scored 7 runs in one inning.
I know, that's pretty crazy.
And you were getting really tired, so we just dipped out a little early.
10 p.m.
Yeah, called
like, it. Can't do this.
It was fun. It was good to get out and just be around all those people. And that's kind of an interesting little segue without knowing. But you asked how many people fit in that stadium, so we Googled it and everything. Yeah. It's just like, wow, look at all these people just like flowing together, and of all those thousands and tens of thousands of people, like, you don't always want to be around all of them, but there are some that you just really kind of yearn for that connection, right?
Right.
Maybe not in a setting like that, but kind of just goes into kind of our topic of the day, just relationships, human connection, friendship. So you want to go ahead and lead us off? I know you found some really cool information and just brought up some really good points that you wanted to hit on. So
so the first thing I was, really like interested in looking at and just exploring for myself, and I encourage, folks out there listening to do for themselves as well, is, what does a friendship look like? And that is just something that has been on my mind a lot lately. It's like, what does a true friendship look like? And for me, a lot of different things come up, just someone I can share like some similar values with, that we have similar visions. Maybe we don't have like similar goals, but we both have like goals that we're working towards. And it's just, to me too, I always think of just that person who's there for you, when you are in your low moments, but when you're in your high moments of life too. And they're just always seem to be there for you, no matter what you're going through. And vice versa, you're there for them too when they're going through those hard times. It's not just a one-way street. But this topic just really interests me today, because I do feel like friendships is just something that just has almost like dwindled, it feels like. Because I don't know if it's just because it's so much like with social media and you kind of connect with people there, like, kind of in like a technological way, but like that face-to-face human interaction, connection, sometimes it seems like it's gotten lost a little bit. And so I was just interested in this topic today, thinking, let's talk about friendships and what they look like to us and mean to us. And when is it time to cut a friendship off, perhaps, too? So kind of just looking into that a little bit. But that's like what a friendship looks like for me. What does it look like for you, would you say, Evan?
Yeah. So friendships, that's kind of an interesting one because we always think of friendships. We start thinking, I don't want to say I start thinking of how I am affected and, have friends or don't have friends, or what they offer me, bring into my life, enrich my life, pull from my life, some good and bad. But a lot of times I think I need to look at that as an inward and say, what do I offer them if they want to be my friend? In this friendship, it's a two-way street. So, I also have to be a good friend. I have to be a human worthy of friendship, right? Because they're going to invest time and effort and energy into my life. Am I worth that? Is it like a one-way street and it's not being reciprocated, and that's why the relationship dies? Or, there's a lot of things. So I think they need to be meaningful. I think there's a lot of things that go into relationships, and like you said, more specifically, friendships that that pull on us, that are time, energy. They're sacrifices.
Yes,
a lot of the times, but they are very enriching. I think they're very empowering. I think there's a lot of times that we need them. There's a lot of times we think we don't. And I say that specifically. I think we don't need them, but we very much do. I'm in the camp of believing that we are social beings, that we were designed for human connection.
Right.
Like I don't think any person can make it alone. I really don't.
Yeah, it's like that whole we're not meant to be like on an island, but more in a community together.
Yeah.
With one another.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, just look at there's a lot of studies out there. I'm sorry, I don't have any information, but we can do a little research on it if anyone has any questions. But, just where they talk about in the early childhood development, when just that even physical connection between baby and its parents, mom and dad, just being touched, being talked to, being loved, and then also the converse, just being isolated.
Yes.
And how negative affecting and how long lasting that is in virtually every form of development, emotionally, physically, cognitively. So human connection is
huge.
Is so important.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And then kind of brings me to my next point of just thinking about like that we've all probably had at some point in our life friendships that just have been there for a season. Maybe it was just a specific season in your life. Like you were, maybe it was when you were in high school, or maybe when you were in college, maybe, you'd move somewhere to a new state and just had that friendship and then moved somewhere else or whatever. So it's just like, kind of recognizing too that sometimes friendships are for a season, and doesn't mean it's good or bad. It's just that sometimes you kind of go through something together at that time, and then like life moves on. Like I think a lot about, for me, a time I served in the military. It's like I still do connect with those people from time to time, but that was a season in my life where we shared a lot of things together. And it's just something that like when you get back home after being overseas and kind of going your own separate ways, those connections kind of get lost a little bit. You have to really work at building them though, if you want to keep them going. But sometimes just having that piece of understanding, like that was for a season, and maybe we'll never be like the best buds that we were again. So I don't know. Sometimes I have like mixed feelings on that too, though. Like, well, maybe if we just work really, really hard, we can make it happen. And I think you can, right, to a certain degree, but.
Yeah, I relate to that. The friendships or relationships being for a season. I mean, that's the story of my life. Like I go through, I don't really tend to have like a lot of friendships at any given time, but there's always those couple of deep friendships, and they generally are for seasons. I don't think like there's no bad blood. There's no real thing that happens.
Right.
It's just kind of life happens, and we end up drifting. We go our own ways. Like you said, like there's all those childhood ones that go into high school, and then the military was another big one for me, where those were very deep relationships, like very impactful, very important to me. And then as we get back, we're just naturally geographically separated.
Right.
We go, and just the whole uniqueness of how the military thing works, like we instantly just we're in this capsule, we're isolated in that setting, being overseas and deployed, and we're just like day in and day out with each other. And then we go back home to our own environments and our old environments, and then we have to learn how to reintegrate with that.
Yeah.
So we each are trying to learn how to reintegrate into life again, or society that we once knew it. And those just kind of drift and fade. There are some people that like I look at, more specifically, a lot of the men and women from the unit that you were in, like those bonds, and I think they're close to each other geographically, so they can be around each other a lot. But you and I were kind of a little removed, where it was just always difficult. And then we were into other things that maybe the people, they weren't. Like we were into like cycling and athletics and stuff like that. And so there was just this natural pulling apart.
Right.
So yeah, it was definitely for a season. And do I miss those people? Yes, I do. Like I really miss that closeness and that relationship. But I also know that, I can't hold that. Maybe I could have. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe I could have. Through everything that I went through, because then I meet new people, and then those were some deep bonds, closeness, and then kind of again, just for that season, I was as I went through Lindenwood and stuff, like there was a couple people that were just like good friends, and as that time has moved on, I'm kind of that's for me.
Yeah, I know. And that makes, I totally get that. Because I think definitely with friendships, it's something that takes a lot of work too. When physically, when there's different geographical locations and different interests, it's kind of like, okay, what do we have in common now? Because we're not doing X, Y, and Z together anymore. We're into different things. And it's just kind of sometimes, like you said, it's like that pulling apart. But it's like, okay, is there something deeper there for our friendship, rather than just the things that we're interested in? Like, is there other things that we can share commonalities in that maybe we just don't know about because
right.
We just
let me ask you this. I mean, since we're kind of in the business of like people development, right? Life coaching, mindset coaching. These are kind of all titles that we've given what we do.
Right.
That's very much in the mindset and very much in the vein of human connection, relationship. So, how would you work with someone, I guess, like me, who am I not putting enough effort in? Am I not putting the energy in? Am I not being worthy of someone investing in me? Or am I just too willing to let those relationships fade away?
Yeah, I think that would be some great things to explore with you, figuring out like, kind of like, why are you wanting friendships? Like, how are you showing up as a friend? What is the result you're wanting to get out of having a friendship? Like, what is the things you want to get? What are the things you want to give back too? So kind of looking at, have friendships perhaps crumbled because it's like a one-way street? Or is it just you get tired, not putting the energy in? So you'd be really figuring out like what a friendship looks like to you. Because maybe your idea of friendships is like, I see people, we kind of have a brief conversation. Yeah, they're kind of my friend. We talk about, shoot the breeze about da-da-da-da. Because I think it's important to notice that we all have probably a different idea of what a friendship looks like too.
Exactly.
Yeah. So kind of exploring like what that would look like to you and what you really want out of a friendship and how to get you there if you're not where you want to be as far as like that commitment of a friendship.
Yeah. I think me personally, one of the things that I enjoy being sought after and pursued in that friendship arena. I like people to reach out to me, invite me, want me to be a part of their life. But it's also very hard for me to do that, to reach out to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to reach out to them and say, hey, do you want to get
be
together
vulnerable.
for lunch today? And what do you think that is about? Like, why is it harder for you?
I think it's a vulnerability
Okay.
that I don't want to be rejected and I don't want to be turned down. I don't want to have them say, no, you know what I mean? So,
yeah. And that's definitely, of course, a way that, as we know, our brains can get pre-programmed in a way to think like that because we've thought like that for so long. And then, of course, the opposite. Like, I try to always remember is like, what if they're like, yay, I am so glad Evan reached out to me. I've been wanting to connect with him.
Right.
So it's like kind of almost training our mind to focus on the opposite of that they're probably going to be so excited I reach out to them. Like,
yeah,
I've made their day.
Right. I think it's just, like, what is it? It's my own fear of rejection. And I think that's brought on from when I was a kid, like, I think I was that kid who was always so self-conscious and so aware, hyper aware of rejection and difference and all these things, like a lot of it's just insecurities that are just from being a kid and just never really working through that. So, because I always had good friends, like I always enjoyed and I always had friends at church groups. I had friends at school, all these things. I was into sports and so I was always surrounded by other kids, but I just think I was very self-conscious and very hyper aware of those kind of things.
Yeah. And would you say they were more like surface friendships where it was like you never really got into like really deep, like sharing some of your like secrets?
Oh, well, as a kid, I don't know how deep and meaningful friendships can be, but no, there was some that I would say there was a couple buddies that, I would say like we were best buds, like, we would always talk about future, like we're going to go and we're going to, get married and let's have our houses and families by each other, like our kids will play together and,
right.
we're going to we'll grow old together and be best buds and our kids will be best buds and all these things. So like we just always just envision these things and fast forward, we just kind of drifted, I don't want to say blame. Blame's a harsh word, but the military kind of was a very big like interjection in life to really rip you out of everything for a long time and then insert you back and they've lived life,
Right.
Granted, I did too, and I'm very thankful for my experiences. I learned a lot, grew up a lot, made some other amazing friendships and relationships, but I came back different. Just came back as a different person,
Yeah, and I get what you're saying too. It's hard to integrate sometimes back because it's like they've built all these new memories and things together and have all these inside jokes now, and you're kind of like, well, where do I fit into all this? And it's.
I think that was it. I just didn't feel like I fit back into the group that I was in before.
Yeah.
So. And
maybe you changed and matured in a different way, and then they did, and so it's just so many things to, like when you really look back on it, that really have those impacts on those relationships.
Yeah. I think that was a big thing because then for me, looking back, maybe this was the downfall because I really felt torn between the two groups because they were completely different groups and different locations. They didn't know each other, so it was like, hey, Evan, we're doing this. Hey, Evan, we're doing this from two different groups at the same time. So then you're like, and then my personality, I kind of say yes and no to both, in a very non-committal way and end up doing nothing, sit alone and like, man, I wish so then I'm isolated from two groups of people that, in theory wanted me there.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes it's neat to like look back and kind of pick them apart and just really use it for data or information and figuring out how you want to be and how you want to show up for friends now in life too.
Exactly. That's so important. Just like good data points and just saying, friendship and connection, relationship is is valuable, is very important for my development as a husband, a father. Every single role of your life, there's relationship that you need, to continue growing.
Yeah. And I think we all have the chance to model for each other what a good friendship looks like. Like, I'll never forget, and we always talk about this too when we think about different periods of our life. But, when you were involved in that hit and run where, you were broke ribs and broke your leg and everything, it was like those people who, like the post and said nice things, like that was awesome. Like that support was,
and I believe
nice.
They were genuine.
And it was
Absolutely.
genuine. It was so genuine. But I will say the people that like took the extra step and just came by our house and, brought food or brought groceries, just did whatever they could. Like that had a huge impact, right? We just saw.
I'll never forget. Jay and Sarah Kogan, they, and to be fair, to be honest, like we had known him through bike racing, but not a ton, right? Like I would say friends back home, I had much deeper relationship with and connection with, but it just speaks to the volume of what kind of people like and friendship they, had, because he said, "Hey, I'm heading to the store. Give me a list. What do you want or need and want? Because I'm getting you something. I want to get what you, instead of just like, let me know if you need anything, like." And I've said, how many times have I said that?
Oh my gosh, me too. I'm so guilty.
Heartfelt.
Right.
I would have done anything in my power for them, but like that made a huge switch in my mind of like, oh, that's how you do it. That's true friendship.
That's true friend. Right. And we had them and like so many other people that did those different things, brought us meal. I mean, it was such a blessing.
I'm not trying to like, not name off people that were
helpful, I know.
But like that one stuck out in my mind. It's just like, head to the store. What do you need? Love you guys,
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's friendship. That's human connection.
Yeah. And you're right. It really helped us change our language about like, hey, there's something if you need something to, hey, I'm going to be in the area today. I'm coming by. What do you need? Or just something like that. Because then typically, I mean, people will take you up on it, I think, because it's like, oh, okay, she's actually going to be over this area anyway. So yeah, come on by or whatever, and just shows that you're taking that extra step too, which is hard when we get busy in our schedules, right?
Oh,
it's just
of course. Like, I mean, we find ourselves leaving for work or appointments or anything, leaving just those couple minutes later or right on the minute where I know.
Always rushed.
So,
yes.
I kind of want to challenge you, myself, everyone listening, like, how can you be thoughtful for the people in your life? It doesn't have to be your best and closest friend. And sometimes it's more impactful for you and others when it's not, when it is the acquaintance, the office mate, the coworkers. Yeah, we have a great relationship, but, they're not the ones I'm inviting over every weekend,
Right.
I love doing that kind of stuff because, I mean, this is really neat because it really ties into a previous podcast we had about the love languages,
Right. Yes.
how that you can apply that to, spouse, significant other, whatever. But those completely apply to every human connection you have. That's how I speak
right.
through my relationships. So for me, giving of stuff time is easier for me than giving of time. We had a really good conversation with our coach about the differences of that. And so he challenged us to kind of like flip that role, just get in practice of it. Like obviously thrive where your strengths are, but you still need to work on those other things. Like it's a challenge for me to give time. It's a challenge for you to maybe sometimes part with gifts or money or something like that to someone. Not that you won't, but like you're much more willing to give of your time. Right.
Yeah, that's true. So that's kind of our challenge for this week for ourselves. I'm going to issue it to everybody else too, to think about a way that you can challenge yourself and to maybe just stretching yourself out a little bit more in a relationship.
Yeah, and it might not have to be giving time or money. Maybe it's giving just words of affirmation and thoughtfulness. So those are some of the things that we're just kind of wanting to talk about. Like kind of how relationships, human connection connect with our love languages. Yeah, so just kind of getting back to what we were saying, how those love languages are just such an integral part to one, know our own, be able to identify other people's, just kind of being aware with those. It's just such an important thing. I kind of want to just use this little time as a little interjection just to let everyone know kind of what we got going on just real quick. Redesigning the website, just a lot of stuff going on right now. So if you want to punch on over to the website and get some information on Sound Mind strategies, on what Anina and I do, just be aware that we're in the middle of a complete redesign. We met with our gal last week, and so we're a couple weeks out of having that up and running. Really excited about it, but just kind of wanted to throw that out there in the middle. Just kind of was thinking about it and just wanted to make sure we're still taking clients. We're still working with people. Anina's still working with people even through pregnancy, and she's doing amazing. So it's fun. Stuff's going really well, but just wanted to throw that out there, kind of real quick interjection. But let's get back to the topic. And so what's the next thing you kind of want to touch on with this friendship, relationships, human connection?
Next piece is, I feel like we've talked a little bit about like what does a good friendship look like, some of those like qualities. And then maybe looking at just some of the like toxic friendships.
Ooh, okay. Yeah. That's good. I guess maybe before we get into toxic, so what are the signs of a good friend? What does a good friend, look like? What do they do?
Yeah. So for me, I look at somebody who, is just, and I'm like thinking of people in my head, and I'm like, I consider them a good friend. I consider them a good friend. Like, what are some of the things they do? I'd see that they're always there to listen to me when I'm going through a hard time, but maybe not necessarily always agree with me. They may give me another side of the story of what they see. And even though sometimes I know that has to be hard as a friend to do and hard to hear, I appreciate the honesty and the truthfulness of that. So just kind of calling you out on things sometimes, or helping you look at things from a different angle. Because we all know we get stuck in a perspective, or we can in life. So someone just offers a different perspective on things. And I think someone too who keeps my secrets. Like they're not telling me other people's secrets. And they're not telling my secrets to other people that I share with them, so just that trust factor, that I can tell you something and you're not going to go around and like tell everybody else about it. That's a
really important thing. Like a lot of times we're like, oh, they must really value my friendship because they're telling me something in confidence about someone else. Like, hey, so-and-so told me this and told me not to say, but I'm really, like I wanted to let you know, because like, sometimes you would initially think, oh, like they trust me so much, but what it should really do is highlight you to just say, this person's not trustworthy, because they're not valuing someone else and holding that
secret.
Yeah. Like someone entrusted them with some very, like personal information, whatever. Generally, that's what secrets are. Hey, I just needed to offload something. I trust you, keep it between you and I. Hey, so-and-so told me something, but I know, you won't say anything.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. Note to self, not to tell you anything that I don't want to tell anyone else myself,
Yeah, no, exactly. So. I still remember a time, it just, when you were talking, made me think, I had a friend who got upset with me because I didn't tell her that the other friend was pregnant. And I was like, well, she asked me to not say anything, so I kept that a secret. Yeah. And so she was just like, but all those times I kept saying da-da-da, and you just kind of like would change the subject. And I was like, I wasn't going to share her secret.
Yeah. It wasn't my information to share. Right. If she wanted you to know, she would have told you.
Yeah. And it was kind of like one of those like, dang, here I thought I was doing something good.
You were. And
I was. And in retrospect, I know I was. But at the time I was like, well, dang, maybe I should have told her. Because, gee, she sure got mad at me.
Yeah. And that's... we all want to be on the inside of the circle, right? We all want to be in the know. We all want to feel valued and loved and needed and
part of something.
A part of something. Yeah. So, I mean, I've been on the other side of that, the person who didn't know and find out later, like, oh, a couple of these people knew it and I was the one that didn't, like, but it doesn't mean like, I don't know. Sometimes it hurts. It's like, oh, I'm not on the in circle. I'm on the next ring or the third ring of circles, like, whatever. That's okay. Like, maybe it's because I haven't put forth the same amount of effort as those people.
I was just thinking that.
It doesn't mean it's on them to not want me. It's maybe like I haven't proven myself to be that trustworthy or to be there all the time to.
Right. Yeah, I love that you're saying that too, because it has us kind of take a look at ourselves too. Like,
I would say most times that's the case for me because I am very hesitant, very guarded, very safe. Like, there's a lot of people I don't want to know my stuff, so I don't ever get to know their stuff.
Right.
Because that connection, that bond, that human connection, that relationship hasn't developed in the way that they have with that tight circle.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, so like we said, just kind of someone who can hold those secrets that you tell them.
Okay.
I'd say like those are some of the major ones that really come up for me. Of just, they're there for you. They genuinely care about you. You can just tell it by everything that they say, they do, their mannerisms. It's not like, oh, here she is again, which I'm sure in my life I have been that here she is again because, some days, seasons we go through those times where we just dump a lot.
Right. No, we all go through those, like we go through those phases of life, the chapters in life where it's just rainy day after rainy day, right? And that's what a good friend is for, someone to give you a shoulder to cry on, someone to get down in the hole with you and not necessarily try to fix your problems, just be there with me. Like, I'm not looking for someone to make it better. I just want someone to love on me for a minute.
Exactly.
Tell me, hey, we're going to get through it and I'm going to be here right with you. You know?
And also to cut my crap if I keep coming back.
Well, there is that. Yeah, there is that.
There's a nice side, both sides of it all. But
I think that's very important too. Like you said, like they have enough stake in the relationship. They have enough love for you as a person and enough respect for you and the relationship together that they're willing to say, hey, you stepped over the line and I still love you and I'm still going to be here with you, but you need to knock that crap off or you need to go apologize to that person or that wasn't cool. You don't say that to somebody. And
that's like the hardest part, I will say, like totally being transparent for me.
Oh,
is
same.
To just
agree.
Say that to somebody. Right. Because I'm like, oh, I don't want to hurt their feelings. And it's like,
well, I want them to still like me.
Right. And it's like, but is that really being a good friend?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it's not being a true friend. It's not being like that deep friend, right? Right.
I agree.
It takes it from like buddies to real relationship.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something for me to work on for my own self because I have that awareness and it's like, not that I just go calling people out left and right, but just kind of if something doesn't feel right and it just doesn't seem right, instead of just holding your tongue, I think for me, I have to figure out how to say it in a, in a gentle way, I guess, because that is kind of, I don't know, maybe not all the time. I don't know. You're looking at me
you can still be, no. I mean, you can still be loving in that and just like, whoa, I think you kind of crossed the line there. Like, that's not cool. I understand you're going through some stuff, but they didn't do that. They didn't do anything to you. Like, you don't take it out on them.
And I think, too, exactly. Kind of bringing that out and also just knowing their character enough as a friend that, like, that is not you.
Right.
I know you and that is not you.
That's important. I think just to bring it back to, like, I know you and that wasn't you. And, like, I think you know.
Yeah, what's going on here? Because this isn't the way you typically respond to things. Yeah, but what things
no, I think those are probably the most important things, like being for you there in a time of need, wanting to celebrate your biggest victories, championing you, like when you set your sights on a big goal, to believe in you.
Right.
Like, to know that you have the grit and determination to do it, or to, understand like, wow, that's big, but you know what? If anyone can do it, you can do it.
Right.
Or to spend time with you, to care for you. Like, exactly to bring you groceries when you get hit by a car. That kind
right.
of thing.
I know you're having a bad day at work today. Let me bring you dinner or just something.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that you said was, and again, the hardest thing is to be the friend when they overstep the bound. I want someone to correct me, as hard as it is
to hear,
and receive and like, okay, I don't want to get mad at you. It's like, oh no, I won't. I respect you so much more because you value me. You value, and it just raises an awareness of like your character, So I think that's one. It's just their character overall, and then two, it's just their willingness and vulnerability to say, no, I'm holding you to a higher standard because you mean something to me, and you mean, like our relationship is important to me. And,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably some of the biggest stuff for me.
Yeah, I agree. That's some big things. And it sounds like we both have some things that we could work on in our friendships too.
I think another one, and the reason I'm saying this is because it is such a difficult task for me to do, is to sacrifice for someone else. Generally time, like, hey, we're moving. Like, yeah, I was going to go ride, or I was going to do this. And like, I'm going to go help you box some stuff up and load the truck or whatever. I'll be there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. And maybe that'd be one of your specific challenges this week is I saw a look on your face like, what?
Yeah.
Well, maybe to reach out to an old friend or somebody to like to reconnect with and say, hey, Anita and I want to have you over for dinner, or let's go out to dinner or lunch somewhere or something like that, and to spend that quality time with them.
Yeah.
And I always have my little conversation starter cards with me.
Oh, those are so fun. Not at all.
You hush.
Those are so lame.
Those are not lame.
They are. I know I can call on a few people that have sat with us. They probably will not admit to it, but
whatever.
No, I'm just kidding. They're
they just help you kind of get to know people better, because sometimes it's just like, what do we talk about? I don't know what to talk about, like to go in a deeper like context of this relationship.
No, I get it, and I'm teasing. But
I know, but I know
you
always
work.
tease me because I carry them around.
They do work, yeah. It's just funny. Like, we'll be at this like super chill thing, and like she'll pull out these cards, and they're like super deep conversations. Like, wrong context, maybe.
I want to know you. I want to know more about you.
So, tell me the worst thing that ever happened in your life.
I remember when I did that to you on like a bike ride one day. You were like, no, not the time or place for
Anita, knock it off.
I was like, I'm just trying to have a conversation.
Talk about birds or squirrels or the weather. No, I'm just teasing.
Oh, gosh. But yeah, so.
Okay, you said toxic.
Oh, yeah. Kind of looking at like toxic relationships. Like,
well, you said toxic friendships. And I kind of had an idea, like, is that a thing? Is that real?
I think
is that an oxymoron? A toxic friend?
Right.
No, I mean, yeah, I don't. Is that real?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is. I think there's maybe sometimes those relationships, those friendships in our lives that, perhaps when we're around them, it seems like it's never good. It never goes well. It just, feels like perhaps, at least for me in the past, it just felt like it was always like a dumping ground. Let me dump all my stuff on you. Now I feel better. Ooh, look at the time. I got to go. And so that was something like, for me, it just felt very toxic for me in that it just always felt very one-sided. Like I was left with this huge, like, bundle of a mess that they just totally downloaded on me. And then it seriously was like, okay, I got to go. And I know I've done that probably in friendships too, where there's been a day or two where I do that, but I feel like it's not always like one-sided, or it shouldn't be one-sided. And so that just, I don't know, it just felt like it was a very hard relationship for me, but it was a very hard relationship to cut off because I'd known this person for a long time.
Okay, I just want to interject real quick, just to get back to my question on, is it real? You're saying relationship. I really am trying to focus on, is a toxic friendship a real thing? I understand it can be a relationship, but is it a real friendship if they bring that much toxicity into your life?
I mean, I thought it was.
Okay. No, that's valid. No, that's real.
And maybe it's because we built a relationship, we built like our friendship, Yeah.
So the roles were defined. You are where I bring my dirty garbage, my dirty laundry.
Yeah. Exactly. And maybe
so you served a very valuable role to them where I can just unload on you. When I feel better, I just cut till I'm done. Peace, thanks.
Right.
And then you're left to sort their mess. But
exactly.
you never get to unload. You never get to. Not that it should be reciprocating of like, that's a two-way terrible street, right?
Right. Now my turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no like, like no happiness, no good stuff there.
Yeah. It felt like it was a very negative friendship. And it made it hard. So maybe for me, it was more of like a relationship. And to her, she was saying we were friends, but it didn't feel like we were friends.
Yeah. I don't mean to nitpick that. I'm just like in my own mind trying to sort it out, and just bring awareness to that. Like, that's not a true friendship. We just kind of described what a true friend is, what a true friendship looks like, right? And what are the characteristics within that connection? And that wasn't in there. Being a shoulder and listening, but like the habitual garbage dumping is not a part of it, right? Like if you're going through something, I want you to offload on me. My shoulders are here for you.
Totally, yes.
But that's not the basis of the relationship.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the basis of So that's the one that like came to me, like initially, like an example of a toxic friendship. But do you have any like that comes to you or envision like what could look like?
Yeah, for me, what's a toxic friendship or relationship look like is maybe not even airing or dumping on you in terms of their own garbage, but just the kind of people that are toxic to me are just the people that just talk bad about every single person out there. They have nothing good to say about anyone. They don't talk bad about you, at least that you know of. They probably do.
Behind your back,
to their other, quote unquote friends. And they just dump on, they just trash talk everyone. Everything everyone does is terrible, bad. Can't believe they would do that. Like they're an idiot. Like they're bad at everything they do. And then this person's fat and then that person's this. And like, it's just so much toxicity, just always negative. So it's not necessarily that they're dumping their dirty laundry on me. It's not necessarily that they're talking bad about me. It's just, there's no positivity in the relationship. And just over time, you just start to
just wears you
wear
down.
on you. And then they kind of want you to interject, it's like, let's join in this together. And it's like, you kind of get drawn into it, or you can, that's kind of the nature of it. But like really took some time to pull out and just say, wait a minute, that doesn't feel good. I don't feel good about this. Like I like that person. I think that's awesome that they're trying. I don't care if they fell on their face, like more courage than I had,
Exactly. And when a friendship, relationship, whatever is built on all that negativity, it's like, what is there really to this? Like,
what's the point?
Nothing.
What's the point?
Yeah, there's nothing. And I know, and I totally know, what you're talking about, because I've been around people like that too. And it feels like anytime you try to interject anything positive or just try to see it from another perspective, it's just always like you're shut down. That's stupid. What are you talking about? And it's
or they look at you like you're speaking foreign language. Like, what? You mean champion someone? You mean like congratulate them on trying and not succeeding,
Right. Like that's unheard of.
Yeah.
But yeah. And like we've talked about too, those folks that are like that, we can't even imagine the inner dialogue that they're having about their own selves. Because if they're that negative about everybody else, imagine what they tell their own selves. I
think that's what you and I have and others in this profession have come to learn, in just that people development,
yes.
The clinical social work and the sports psychology, like everything that all these careers or, whatever that kind of evolve around mindset, mentality, those things. This is just one of the things that we learn, that how that self-talk is, so that just huge. Kind of is like the root of everything. All that kind of stems from how they think about themselves, how they treat themselves, the thoughts in their own head. That's the lens that they view the world, right?
Right.
So of course that's what's going to be coming out, because that's what's always being repeated about themselves.
Yeah.
Most of the thoughts that we have are generally about ourselves rather than
Like
kind
projected
of
on other people. Yeah.
Right.
You're narcissistic.
No, I think that's really, really important. I think that's a good point. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah.
One last thing I kind of wanted to talk about was like, we're saying that there's a need, and, like we're designed for human connection. We're social beings. Well, I'm an introvert, right? I don't need anybody. I don't get my energy from people. I like to close off and just be by myself and listen to my music. Recharge, like write, do things, or as an athlete, I like to train alone, or all these things. We hear all this. How is that? Is that true? Like,
yeah, I think there's a level of you knowing yourself well enough to know that, like, maybe you're somebody, if you are introverted, you take people in doses. Like, you can still have quality friendships, but it's just like, you know yourself well enough to know that, like, okay, after I'm spending a whole day with you, I need to go back home and recharge a little bit because I am exhausted mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's just knowing yourself well enough to make the changes, to make the adaptations that you need to do so that you can be successful and have a quality friendship as well. So I just think it's important to know that about ourselves. And then just adjust accordingly,
So introvert, extrovert alike, we need human connection.
We do need. I think we all need it.
I think the differences are in the environment, the number of people that we put ourselves around.
True.
I don't need, as an introvert myself, I don't need a ton of friends. I don't always need to be in large social settings. Like, those are actually very draining for me and pull a lot of energy from me. I'll do it, but I also know, like, it's a limited amount of time. I will fade quickly, and then I will need a recharge the next day or two, right? I'll kind of just need some alone time, or one-on-one, or very small setting, intimate setting. That's me. That's why I love these podcasts. Are awesome for me. Like, I love to be able to connect with a lot of people without having the pressure of large group, right?
Right.
I love intimate settings. I love that one-on-one connection. I love to really speak into someone's life, work with someone, watch their development, champion them. That's for me. That's how I kind of see myself.
Yeah, and I get that too. It sounds like for you, it's like kind of having those quality over quantity. Like,
perfect.
You'd rather have that quality one-on-one, two-on, a couple people rather than the huge crowd, because it just, like you said, it's exhausting. It overwhelms you, and it's like, okay, good night, I gotta go, kind of thing. So I think that is important to know about yourself.
What about you? Are you introvert, extrovert?
I feel like I'm kind of...
Where do you get your energy? Like,
I do get my energy from being around other people. I get very excited when I get around people.
Yeah.
But I do know, like what you're saying too, is when it's a large crowd, I do feel like I fizzle out more, because I feel like, oh, there's so many people. I want to talk to everybody, and I want to have more of just a conversation other than just the weather. I want to, like, get deeper in the conversation, and it's like, okay, but that's like 15 people around the table. It's probably not going to happen.
Well, and that's very interesting. Like, I would say you very much are extroverted in that regard. Now me, like, we'll go to a gathering, and there's that meet and greet period before, like, a talk or whatever, and I just can't wait to fast forward and just sit down.
Get the talk going.
Oh gosh, people are looking at me. They want to come talk to me. Like, nah, I'm good. But it's so weird, because in this business, like, we're in the business of people. We're in people business, right?
Right.
And that's just what we do. But I think I operate very well in that setting, in that environment of that coach setting. But it's that first part of, like, being seen, being out there, getting to know someone, getting someone to want to connect with me. That's the hard part for me. But once that connection has been made, I'm all in
Right.
speaking in and edifying and watching them develop and challenging them and watching them grow. Like I'm all about that. It's just that first part. How do we meet?
Yeah. And that's so funny too, because I'm thinking about when we were at that, that training this past week. And it was just funny because we were talking to this new gal. She was talking to both of us. And I thought I was communicating with her well and trying to understand what she was saying. And I was so confused on what she was saying. And you're like, oh, I got it. Like I got what she was saying.
Yeah.
I don't even know why that came up to me, but I was just thinking like, it was just so interesting because we were like such totally different people, her and I, the way we thought, right?
Yeah.
And it was just like, we both were not understanding what each other were saying.
No, it's really neat. Like,
so weird.
I understand people really well.
You do, yeah.
I do. I really do understand. I don't know why. I think it's because I'm such a critical thinker and analytical, like, and I just know people. Like, I might not be a great speaker, whatever, but I just know people. I really have an understanding for how people work, in all different types. So it was really neat for me to be right there and just like, wow, they're not connected.
It's like,
I knew exactly what you were trying to say, and I knew exactly what she was trying to say, and I just saw it go over both of your like each other. But then we like it picked up.
It was like.
But she was very like, she's artistic. Like she's an artist.
What'd she keep calling herself? She was she kept calling herself.
Yeah, left brain.
Yeah, she kept saying, I'm a left brainer. And
yeah. So, like, I think that's right. Anyway, but she's an artist and wants to bring her art into coaching. And I thought that's really cool.
It's really
like,
cool.
it's so, like, there are going to be people that you can reach that, Anita and I won't be able to reach. And then, like, we were kind of talking about how we love to work with athletes and just kind of who a lot of the clients that we work with. And, again, or flip it, like she would have no connection with those kind of people. So it's really neat to just like, it takes all kinds.
It takes all kinds, yeah. And it really showed us that, which I don't even know why I got off on that tangent, but I think I was just trying to highlight that you do seem like you really you understand people well. So yeah, that's important piece of the puzzle too. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of coming up on close to an hour here. I think you want to maybe try and land this plane.
I'll try. Buckle your seats, everybody.
I guess just give us a little recap.
I think really just the thing I just want to leave people with too is that, and it's a good reminder for myself, I think for all of us out here, is that, any quality relationship takes time. And, even if you've been burned in a relationship and it hasn't gone the way you wanted it to, just to not let yourself get timid or scared of putting yourself back out there again to have a friendship, because we all need each other. We all need someone to be the hand, someone to be the feet, someone to be the mouth, whatever. But we all have to. We all need one another. And so, I think that was a big lesson for me too. And I've been burned or been hurt by other people, is to not let myself stay so closed off and afraid of getting into a new relationship, because I know I have something to offer in a friendship. And I think just knowing that about yourself, what you have to offer and what you bring to the table, and what you feel like you need to have out of a relationship too. So really for me, it's just like, it takes time. Anything worth investing in, is going to take some time. And I think just understanding that has really helped me too, that, just because we've gone out to dinner twice and I don't feel like we have this awesome, huge connection or relationship doesn't mean it necessarily can't be, but it takes time.
Yeah. No, I think you summed it up very, very well. Introvert, extrovert alike. We are all designed for human connection. We're all designed for social interaction, relationships, and friendships. So do a little self-exploration. Understand how you get charged, how you recharge. Ask yourself some questions on what are some of the qualities of the best friends in your life. What are some of the qualities that you offer others? Maybe how can I implement some things that I view as a very good quality? Am I acting in that? So I think that's for me, that my big takeaway from today is to double down on some of the qualities that I need to bring to others, right?
Yeah.
I think that's for me. That's what I'm taking away from this. Like, I know what I need out of people. I think most people understand that. But like, am I, one, being the kind of person worth investing in?
Mm-hmm.
And two, am I willing to do these same things that I want?
Exactly. And what comes to my mind too, just real quick, is thinking, because I know I've worked with people before who are like, well, I don't even know what that would look like. Where would I begin? I've never had one. And I would just say, like, ask other people, like people that you know, like, or watch a movie that's like kind of about friendships and kind of look at how they model a friendship. Or like I said, ask people, like, what you said that was your friend, like, what about them? How did you consider them to be a friend? Like, what have they done for you? What have you done for them? Because some people really do have no idea.
That's a good
They never
point.
had that. So just another way to learn.
I think we gave a lot of really good ideas, some good tips and ways to explore and deconstruct friendship and relationship in their own life. So I think that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. We had a great time. And please, this isn't about our own accolades or patting ourselves on the back. We have a message that we want to share with others, and we want to rise to the top of the listener boards through iTunes and all these SoundCloud and Spotify and all these things. It does us so much good for the 5-star reviews, 5-star ratings, the reviews, sharing episodes. Take a screen grab of whatever you listen to this on, share it on social, tag us in it. We will definitely share it back with our followers. So thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. We love you guys. Couldn't do it without you. And we will see you in the next one.
Have a good week, everyone. Bye.
Peace.